Emergency management is responsible for planning and coordinating actions to prepare, respond, and recover from natural or man-made disasters in Polk County. It manages the County Emergency Operations Center, which is the central coordination facility for all disasters. It also plans and conducts emergency training and serves as a liaison with the state and federal emergency agencies. With hurricane season kicking off and going through November, Polk County Emergency Management has some tips to keep you safe this season, and the details are coming up next on Polk Place. Welcome to Polk Place. I'm your host, Lauren Lingell. Joining me in studio, we have Pete McNally, who is the Director of the Emergency Management Operations in Polk County. Pete, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Great to be here, Lauren. Thank you.
There are a lot of things that you all do, so it's not just specific to hurricanes, although that's going to be the focus of this show, but tell me a little bit about some of the other things you guys do.
Well, emergency management is responsible, as you mentioned in your opening, for the emergency training, exercising, and planning for county operations. And it's not really just the Polk County Board of County Commissioners folks, it's county-wide. So we include training of citizens from, or representatives from the municipalities, from different agencies, from state agencies and county agencies. So we try to bring a whole county operation together. And it is an all-hazards approach, too, so we don't just look at hurricanes. We look at all different kinds of hazards that could impact the county and how we would need to help coordinate operations in response and recovery from those events. So
going back to the word training, how are you, I guess, providing or facilitating trainings that are going to be useful in disaster situations?
There are a couple different ways we do that. First of all, we try to set up classes during the year for different folks to take that may need different forms and different aspects of training, from training on the emergency management system, the incident command system, emergency operations, any other facets of those types of operations. We also do training of our emergency operations center staff, bringing many folks in, probably 2 or 3 different shifts worth of folks in for training on how to operate within the EOC, what the requirements for that position are, the roles and responsibilities of those folks, and what other training operations and opportunities they need to take advantage of.
With all of that coordinating that goes on within the county, I would imagine that you would have to work with a number of municipalities, and there's some crossover in agencies. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about those relationships.
Well, we've got great relationships, and that's really what emergency management is all about. We've only got about 4 or 5 people on staff who focus on that particular aspect of our operations, so they can't handle and are not experts on all of it. As one of our folks says, we're kind of the conductors of the band. We don't play the instruments, but we need to know who and which instruments we need at a certain time. So relationship building is really a key part of what we do. We're constantly reaching out to our partners across the county and regionally. We deal a lot with the other emergency management agencies regionally impacted by events as we would be, so in the same area. So we coordinate well with them and coordinate well with our folks within the county, just to make sure we have those good relationships when we need to call on them and call them into work.
About 2 years ago, there was a tornado that hit out at Sun and Fun. Mm-hmm. And I know that you all were very involved with that and on scene, or working with that scene to get everything and all those people. I mean, it's a huge event with
Sure.
many people, to ensure that those people were safe and that things were going. Can you tell me a little bit about how that situation played out?
Certainly, emergency management
and how the training was involved with that.
Okay, certainly emergency management is not a response agency. We are an agency that coordinates response to events and assists the responders on scene with the resources that they may need. So for us, being there is really kind of again, that leadership role, a coordination role. The folks who are our first responders, law enforcement, fire, emergency medical services, even sometimes our public works folks, they're the people who actually do the the hands-on work. We are in the background requesting and talking to the people who are in command of those operations, asking, what do you need? What kind of assistance can we bring? Do you have to reach outside the county for something? Do you have to go to the state for something? Is there some other agency that, or is there some other need you have, so that we can find the agencies that can help in that? And that's what we do. And then after the event, we help to coordinate damage assessment, any kind of debris management and disposal that may take place. And once again, we're probably not the lead agency for that, but we help to coordinate those activities.
Changing gears a little bit, switching to hurricane season 2017. What do we need to tell our residents to get them prepared?
Well, the most important thing is that they have a plan. There's certainly a lot of different options out there for where they can go to find what kind of resources they need in their homes, how they can prepare their properties, prepare their families, talk about what kind of things that they will need to do in order to be a survivor should something occur. Now, I'm hoping nothing will happen this year, that we'll plan and that no impacts will occur, but you can never be sure that's going to happen. As we saw in 2004, we are vulnerable to disasters and certainly hurricanes here, so we want to make sure that people are prepared for that, not necessarily prepared for 3 hurricanes, but at least be prepared for 1.
Right.
And again, there's information that we put out on our website or on other websites like ready.gov that have different lists of supplies that people can have. But the most important thing is that there are 600,000 people or more in this county. As I mentioned before, there are only 5 people in my division. I can't go door to door telling people to get ready. I can reach out using this type of a forum to tell them there are places that they can go get supply lists and information on supplies, and we're certainly welcome to answer any questions that they may have. But again, reach out, and a lot of folks can be self-sufficient and should be self-sufficient during operations like this, at least 3 to 5 days worth of self-sufficiency.
Should the hurricane kind of impact Polk County, and we have a need for shelters to be open, emergency shelters, for the tourists in the county, or even residents, where can they go to find out this information?
Most of the media will be covering this from start to finish, 24/7. We always put information on there as to where our shelters are located. Of course, a school in Polk County won't mean anything to someone from Great Britain, so we do have shelter maps. We do have telephone numbers or citizen information line that they can call and get information. So there's a lot of different places that they can find out where those different shelters are in order to be able to access them. But again, we try to put as much information as we can, as accurately as we can, so that those people have the idea of where the shelters are and where they can go.
Now, the Polk County Board of County Commissioners is sort of at the forefront of the use of social media. How does using social media really help emergency management to accomplish its mission in keeping the residents and visitors of Polk County safe and informed?
Well, you hear the phrase often, another tool in the toolbox, and that's really what it is. We use all opportunities through our friends in the media or public information folks. I always consider them probably the most important office we have in the Emergency Operations Center when we open, because they're getting our message out to the people. So it's very important that we use all methods of media, be it television, radio, more traditional types, or the social media now we're getting more into. We're more in the pushing out of information. We're trying to get better at the receiving information, because it's very difficult to assimilate all the stuff that can come out from folks tweeting and putting out information during an event. But we like to get as much out as we can from our end, using that forum as well as other forums that are available to make sure the message gets out to as many people as possible.
Lately, it seems that a lot of challenging weather, and I say lately, in the last few years, storms have kind of gotten close, and you're like, okay, what do we, we're kind of getting in this pattern where it's like, okay, well, it's probably not going to hit. How do we break that cycle of being just, it's probably nothing?
Well, it's hard. It's very hard, because that is a normal reaction that people have when storms come close and don't hit us, or we don't have anything even comes near the peninsula. When Florida hadn't been hit for over a decade before last season. So it's very natural for people to, the year or so after you're hit, to really be focused on what we need to do. This goes for our residents as well as the legislators, giving us money and other focuses on getting supplies and so forth for the emergency management community kind of wanes when you don't have those events. And the same thing happens with people's perceptions that we're safe or nothing's going to happen here. What we call hurricane amnesia. We try to get away from that. We try to beat the drum all the time. We know, and most people know who have been here, that it could happen any year. And the idea is just to prepare. Don't prepare for 3, but prepare for 1. And be prepared at the beginning of the season and take it seriously, because I just talked to a group the other night and I said, I can talk about this all the time and put out the same message and the same urgency. You may not feel the same way because I'm a professional doing that, but if you talk to your neighbor who went through Hurricane Charlie, Francis, and Jean, and what they went through and how they experienced that, then it starts to hit home as far as what types of impacts there can be and what they need to be prepared for.
So like the Boy Scouts say, always be prepared.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So you mentioned that you have a staff of 5. Can you talk to me a little bit about what their roles are and what services you're offering through the...
Well, those, for the most part, those are kind of internal operational type things within emergency management. We do have a special needs coordinator that is an outreach person who helps to register and spread the word about those people with special medical needs requiring either sheltering or some other special medical handling during an event. They should reach out and contact our special needs coordinator to get the triage and maybe the assignment to a shelter in case something should happen. For the rest of us, it's really kind of internal planning, internal training and exercising and getting those operations for our staff. And then we also do presentations. We go out and, as we're talking here, and I mentioned we talk to other groups and give them information and pass out brochures and things like that we have available to, again, get message out as far as where shelters are, what type of operations are going on, what type of supplies you might need, pet-friendly shelters, special needs shelters, things like that, just that basic information. But again, the only real outreach person we have on our staff on a normal, regular basis is that special needs coordinator.
Okay, and all of these staff members are housed in the Emergency Operations Center.
Correct.
So this, the Emergency Operations Center was heavily funded by the Board of County Commissioners. There's a huge investment into, I guess, really into the safety of the residents.
Yes.
How does having a facility like that help you to combat disasters or emergency situations?
Well, it obviously is not a prevention for anything to
Right.
happen, especially for us. We're not in the prevention mode. We're more of in a response mode. We can do some protection type activities and things like that, but again, we're kind of responding to what happens. Having a facility like that allows us to be able to respond faster, to bring more people together to an incident, to work together. Of course, that requires more training of staff and more opportunities to get folks out there to exercise. But again, it gives us that facility in which to do it. They're out there, they know what to expect, they know the facility, they're familiar with what the rules are and how the equipment works and so forth. So the ability to be able to quickly respond and quickly be on hand to assist the folks in the field, that's the most important thing. Back in 2004, when we did not have sophisticated center like we have today, we actually had to use what was basically a bare piece of floor down at the Stewart Center in South Bartow. And it was a plan to do that, but again, it was hard to do. Having our own facility that's stood up and ready to go 24/7, just puts us that much further ahead in our ability to respond and help those first responders.
Sure. Pete, we're running out of time, but if you just had a few words to share with the residents and everybody in Polk County and really everyone everywhere about hurricane season and being prepared, what would you say?
The most important thing is have a plan. Today or any day like now where there's no threat of a hurricane on the horizon, it's the time to do that. If you're going to prepare your home, go get your home preparation stuff this weekend. If you're going to prepare your family, take a look at some of those supply kits and start over a period of time filling those supply needs and have them on hand. It can't be overstated. You don't want to be the last person at your grocery store getting that last can of beans off the shelf. You don't want to try to be in line at Lowe's or Home Depot to get those last pieces of equipment that you think you need to secure your home. Get that stuff now, be prepared. Hopefully you'll never use it, but if you do, it's like an insurance policy, it's there when you need it.
Heck yeah. Well, thanks for being here, Pete.
My pleasure, thank you.
And thanks for informing us of what to do. Emergency Management also partners to produce the Polk County Annual Hurricane Shelter Map, hurricane shopping list, and educational events to help citizens prepare themselves for a potential disaster. For more information on hurricane-related topics and options within Polk County, go to polk-county.net/prepare.